Okay, well, let me talk about this fight a little bit. I wasn't able to see it, but I kind of had an idea what was going to go on. Knowing both fighters. Well, let's start with Fury. Fury's a big guy, heavy guy. He has powerful punches. He hits you, and you're in trouble. But the thing about him is that, as you can see, he's not too much of a guy that can move around the ring. He's not too much of a guy that keeps them hands up and has, that footwork and that hand movement that you're seeking in a fighter to be able to beat down to Deontay Wilder to a pulp. He's slow, in other words. Deontay Wilder, on the other hand, great athletic abilities, fast, got some hard hands as well. But the thing about him is, even though he looks like he's a little bit more in shape, is that he can't move around either. His feet work are sloppy. He throws these wild ass punches that takes him off balance. And if you ask me, I mean, he's the type of fighter that he gets impatient. The type of fighter that gets impatient. Um, as you can see, he gets flustered in his own craziness. All right, Wilder, I mean Fury. Let's talk about Fury a little bit more. Fury is a tough fighter, man. A tough fighter that can go 12 rounds, something that Wilder hasn't really faced. Most of his opponents get knocked out easily with that crazy punch. But if you're a fighter that knows about boxing and are expecting Wilder to throw that crazy punch, then you're going to protect yourself from it. As you can see, that Fury's in a southpaw stance, okay? So Fury throwing that right to protect himself. He's throwing that jab, and if you notice when he throws the jab, Wilder has trouble with it, especially when he doubles up on the jab and then he throws it for a third time. That's when he'll catch Wilder. Wilder does not expect a fighter to keep his hands up and use his jab much. What he's expecting is those rugged fighters that want to step in there and go at it with him without hesitation, for him to be able to get that one knockout punch in there. Wilder is the type of fighter that will deliver it because he likes to throw that punch, that crazy punch. But when it comes to Fury, he's the type of fighter that can last 12 rounds, so it's not going to be easy to knock this guy out unless you connect those punches. But Wilder is having trouble connecting those punches because we're fighting with a fighter that, like I said, can go 12 rounds and has much experience. But let's take that experience and let's put some speed into it and a little feet work in there. And believe me, you'll have a fighter, all-around fighter that can beat Wilder. Wilder's not the type of fighter that can't be beat. He's not a type of fighter that I sit here and look at as one of the greats like Mike Tyson, who had speed, he had combination, he had it all together. But what we're seeking here is a fighter that can move around the ring, a fighter that can use the ring, and not only the ring, his technique to be able to beat Wilder. Another thing, you got to keep those hands up. If you want to fight Wilder, you got to keep those hands up. If you notice, Fury, he moves around. He makes a Wilder miss. As a matter of fact, Wilder has to change his stance trying to fight him differently. He starts throwing that right more than he throws that left, but then he changes his position like you see here. And Wilder has a mean right that he can throw. So you got to be careful with that. I mean, look at that. He has that mean left. Look at that. He has that mean left. I mean, listen, he throws that straight, right? And Fury's moving around. Fury's using the ring. Fury's moving around, which is something that I think Fury's not too used to. But when you're fighting 12 rounds, you gotta learn how to avoid some of these punches, man. See how he jabbed that? Look, see how he doubled that, and he hits him. Yeah, that's when he has trouble. Fury likes to aim and throw that punch. I mean Wilder, but he's not connecting here because Fury's not letting him. Fury's hitting him with that jab, and that's giving Wilder trouble. If you ask me, they're both slow fighters, slow ass fighters. Um, Not what we're thinking of an all around fighter when we think about heavyweights. Not one of those heavyweights that you look at and say, "Damn, he's a great fighter." No, Wilder's strong. He's not a smart fighter. He's not a smart fighter. Let's be honest. Mike Tyson was a smart fighter. Mike Tyson had the power, the speed, and he was smart. Maybe not too much, of of a person that used to use the ring to his advantage. Now, he didn't move too much. He would stay in the pocket, but he would be the aggressor, and he would be able to throw his combination punches where they would land. Smart in that aspect that he knew how to throw his punches and those combinations. When it comes to Wilder, he doesn't have that. He doesn't have that structure. Fury, slow, and let's be honest, Fury's, been through a lot. Just by hearing him talk, you can tell that the man's going through a lot or been through a lot. I wish him all the best. I know mental health is an issue. It's a disease. It's a problem that we need to help out with, and I hope to God that we do, man. That we find a cure to be able to help people out there, man. Times are tough, and I wish everyone around these holidays the best. I know that a lot of us go through it, but whatever keeps us strong. You know what I mean? Just keep your head up. Anyways, Fury's been through a lot. And, coming into this fight, I think Fury mentally was in a good place. I think Fury was in a good place. But at the same time, if it wasn't for that, I don't think Fury would have been able to put in the work that he put in today. I know that it takes a lot from you, but I give it up to Fury because he came out. He showed he was in great shape. He showed that he's been training hard for this fight and that he took this fight serious. And let me tell you something. I couldn't ask for anything more because Fury came in this fight 100%, I would say, to his best. You know what I mean? And he still has potential. But let's be honest. Fury's getting older. Fury's getting to the point where one day he's going to retire, man. Fury's not the same guy he was before. I'm going to tell you something. I think Klitschko was more of a threat. The Klitschko brothers were more of a threat. Those guys can fight. Them guys are smart fighters, man. They know how to throw those hands. But when we watch these two fight and you put these two together, yeah, it's bound to be a good fight because Fury has a chin on him and Fury can has a lot of technique. But he's a slow fighter, man. And Wilder, not used to a fighter that can go that distance, not used to a fighter that can take that punishment, is having a hard time thinking that he can just throw that right hand, that left hand, and beat somebody up. No. You gotta know when to throw that punch. You can't just expect that punch to land every time. And Wilder's been overusing it. He has nothing else besides that knockout punch. He's not a man that moves around the ring, throws the jabs, keeps his distance, and kind of opens his opponent up to that punch. He's the type of person that just wants to throw that punch crazy, go in there and beat his opponent to a pulp. Which honestly, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It depends on who you fight, especially if you're fighting a fighter that can use the ring to his advantage and knows what he's doing in there. Yeah, Fury's gonna have trouble. Most of the fighters, like I said, that he's fought have been guys that will sit there in the pocket or are already in fear once they step in the ring. But if you got a fighter, let's take Anthony Joshua for instance. Joshua, slow hands, dude. That dude needs to work on his speed. That dude needs to work on his hands. But when it comes to smarts, he does have the smarts. He just doesn't have the speed at the time that I think, or the distance to go the 12 rounds with Wilder. Fury has proved himself to be one of those type of fighters. Joshua is proving himself. Don't get me wrong. Joshua is proving himself. He's been able to last some rounds, but the fights that he has had that lasted rounds, you've noticed it's giving him trouble. If it was the Klitschko brother, he beat him. Yeah, but when it went to distance, you'll notice that Joshua starts losing his gas tank. But if he were to work out and get himself in top shape, I'm pretty sure, man, that he has a chance of beating Wilder.